The politics of South Africa seem to be the politics of fools who can't think beyond a certain point. The side that they call progressive in South Africa has some of the dumbest politicians in the country, and it is not funny. Before we get into it, welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Nhlamulo and would appreciate it if you subscribed to our YouTube channel, liked and shared this video with other citizens. What I'm saying may be harsh, but think about it. We have seen it over and over again with these so-called progressives. You know the people I'm talking about, right? When issues are presented for discussion or debate, these are the kinds of people who lack the morality or the mental capability to debate the issues based on facts surrounding the issues. These are people whose minds only revolve around a few words: racism, white puppets, colonialism, white monopoly capital, inequality, and white supremacists. Former Judge John Hlophe has been stopped from working within the Judicial Service Commission. Many of them have a way of spinning even that and making it about racism, inequality, and colonialism instead of facts. Remember the MK Party, the EFF, the ANC, along with a bunch of other members of parliament voted to put the former judge on that commission.
Let's respect the fact that a certain number of people in South Africa have voted for Comrades as a party and have designated Dr. Hlophe to become a member of parliament. Speaker of the National Assembly, we as the economic freedom fighters fully support the appointment of Dr. John Hlophe as a representative of South Africa's 7th Parliament in the Judicial Services Commission.
There is nothing that precludes Dr. John Hlophe from representing Parliament.
The streets have spoken. They want the Honorable Sheikh Hlophe to serve on that commission. The people shall govern. This is a people's parliament. Al-Jamaa supports the nomination.
Hlophe was found guilty of misconduct by the JSC and Parliament voted on his impeachment last year.
Unfortunately for them, this former judge has too much dirt on his hands. He is the judge that tried to influence other judges to rule in favor of Jacob Zuma instead of ruling based on evidence.
It's been 8 years since Cape Judge President John Hlophe was first accused of trying to unduly influence 2 Constitutional Court justices. At the time, the court claimed he'd suggested these judges needed to make rulings that would favor ANC President Jacob Zuma, who was then facing trial for corruption. Justice Beson Kabinde made it very clear to the Judicial Service Commission that she found Hlophe's conduct inappropriate.
There would have been no reason whatsoever for me to discuss a case that is pending with a judge who's not even a member of the court. Let me also say that I expressed my disquiet. In fact, I rebuffed him when he started talking about a case.
Facts really seem to be disliked among certain groups, it seems. This is a judge that has tainted his own name by conducting himself in a corrupt and unprofessional manner. There were consequences for his actions, thank God. The matter was brought before our Parliament's JSE, the Judicial Service Commission, and the Commission arrived at the decision that even though Judge Hlophe was competent and very experienced, he was not suitable to hold the office of being a judge as he had been found guilty of gross misconduct. So what happened? They removed him from his position as a judge, and that was great, right?
The Western Cape High Court has interdicted the MK Party's Deputy President John Hlophe from participating in the Judicial Service Commission.
And I know that the MK Party and its supporters will respond to this saying the magic words. What happened to John Hlophe is all because of racism, white puppets, colonialism, white monopoly capital, inequality, white supremacists, and many others. But what about his unethical acts? No, those didn't happen. It's the racists and the puppets who want us to think they happened. What about his gross misconduct? Don't tell me about that. John Hlophe is there for the black people, the poor people, the working class, and the establishment doesn't want that. The progressive leaders and their supporters act like they're allergic to facts surrounding the issues whenever the facts do not support them. But as always, we say facts first, cry later. And what do the facts say in this case?
More details now on our top story. The Judicial Service Commission has voted for Western Cape Judge President John Hlophe to face impeachment. The vote comes 4 months after a Judicial Conduct Tribunal found Hlophe guilty of gross misconduct for trying to influence 2 judges during former President Jacob Zuma's 2008 corruption trial. Now, if impeached, he would be the first judge in South Africa to be removed from office.
The facts say John Hlophe was corrupt. As a judge, he tried to influence judges to not judge fairly, that is, without fear or favor, but rather to judge in favor of Jacob Zuma. As a thank you or payback for what Hlophe did for Zuma previously, once Jacob Zuma had his own party, the MK Party, he then appointed John Hlophe as one of his minions in Parliament. Izandla ziyagezana ngisho. You scratch my back and I scratch yours. Do you see what is happening here? John Hlophe was fired from his position as a judge after trying to get judges to unfairly favor Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma started a party, or he found a party and he got a party some way or another and put that same judge that behaved unethically in Parliament. Several political parties thought it would be a good idea to put the same Judge Hlophe on the Judicial Service Commission, as if his history is unknown to all of them. Yet another confirmation that facts do not seem to matter to these progressives. They want former Judge Hlophe to join the Judicial Service Commission. Remember, this is the same Judicial Service Commission that rightfully removed John Hlophe from being a judge. According to these progressive parties, the same JSE is supposed to now have Hlophe as one of its members. Basically, the man who is not fit to be a judge is now fit to be a man that picks and chooses judges. Yeah, no? So which parties think this was a good idea? The EFF, the ANC, obviously the MK Party, UDM's Bantu Holomisa, who many people seem to like, agreed with this as well. ATM agreed with this too. You know, I wonder if they really think it's a good idea or if they're just using their positions and votes in Parliament to gain future favor from people like Jacob Zuma and John Hlophe. I mean, it does look like Jacob Zuma does remember most of those who helped him out in the past, right? And many in Parliament may just be looking out for their future. Who knows? The sad part is that these politicians who act in this way are all people that we have voted for as South Africans. We are the voters that voted for fools like this. Fools that think a man who was removed from being a judge is good enough to pick judges. This is similar to a police officer being removed for corruption. After being removed for corruption, the same police officer then gets the job to pick other police officers. How does that make any sense? How do these political parties think it makes any sense? Honestly speaking, John Hlophe should not even be in Parliament, but here he is. But you know what? As Booker T. Washington said, a lie doesn't become truth, wrong doesn't become right, and evil doesn't become good just because it's accepted by majority. While the majority thought the senseless decision made sense, the ACDP and DA are among the few that fought against Hlophe being placed on the JSE. John Hlophe was nominated to go onto the JSE by the majority of the members of Parliament. These are the kinds of people we voted for, guys. People that vote for things like this. We put these people in parliament and they keep voting for corrupt people. We really, really need to reflect on our way of voting and how we choose these people, guys. We cannot keep making these same mistakes over and over again. Anyway, although the ACDP and DA lost the vote in Parliament, the DA chose to take the matter further. They took the matter to the courts to decide, and the result came out as follows.
Now back to one of our top stories of the day, where the Umkhonto weSizwe party says it will appeal the ruling interdicting impeached Judge John Hlophe's participation in the Judicial Service Commission. Now this is after the Western Cape High Court ruled in favor of the Democratic Alliance's urgent application earlier today.
So a member of the corrupt and racist MK party came onto the television to whine and cry about how this is not a fair decision. Listen to his reasoning.
The Judicial Service Commission, as per Section 178, is set up merely for the purpose of identifying judges who are fit and proper. Now, who better suited than Dr. Hlophe to represent our constituency, South Africans, in identifying through 25, 28 years of experience. He's got a doctorate and he's been a judge, in terms of whether a person is fit and proper or not. So with regards to his competence, you can't question that.
Guys, tell me, dear citizens, is Satan, the devil, not a competent angel? Did he not have experience when it comes to serving in heaven? Does he not have the doctorates and qualifications to be called competent? Does he not? This is not a matter of experience and competence. It is a matter of dirty or clean, honest or corrupt. That is a matter at hand here. He was asked to address that particular matter, and he simply beat about the bush and jumped to talk about the GNU. Take a listen.
Let's remove the DA from this, right? Let's talk about the fact that Dr. John Hlophe has been impeached as a judge. So if he's been found not to be fit to be a judge, how can he then sit and decide who will be a fit judge, irrespective of his experience that you can't take away?
Well, here's the reality. Impeachment is a political process where the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa colluded with the DA. Even before we knew there was going to be a GNU. Guess what? Subsequently, it says exactly what we thought it was, a GNU. So this is just a coalition of, personal gain, and they are now using the judicial system to settle political scores and political battles. So the issue of impeachment is exactly that. They buried Dr. Hlophe off the back of the impeachment, and they want to do what? Bury him again. Here's what's also the truth. Dr. Hlophe is competent. He is competent enough to serve. There are those that don't even have an iota of a qualification that he has or experience that he has, and yet they sit or are going to be allowed to sit there.
No one ever accused former Judge Hlophe of being incompetent. His competence is known by many. The problem is he has sullied his hands. He has tarnished his reputation by conducting himself in an unethical, embarrassing, and corrupt manner. This guy needs to address the real issue here. The issue is not about competence or qualification. It is about the character of the individual. Dr. John Hlophe cannot be a judge or be on the JSE for the same reasons why Jacob Zuma should not be a president or a member of parliament. They are both corrupt. Sorry.
The issue of which they're trying to use morality, the DA are the last people to speak about morality. The DA today have people, and what they actually represent is racism, and they're from the back of murders. They murdered our people. These are people that represent individuals and thugs and thieves who came here as visitors and killed our people. That's who the DA is, and they're in government today. And they want to speak about morality. They have members who are racist, who sit in committees, the likes of Ian Cameron. Those people are racist. They are racist. But yet, we want to speak about them having morals, and they want to point fingers at other people having morals. Well, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that will not fly.
Imagine that. When he finally gets the opportunity to clean up the name of his comrade, the corrupt Dr. John Hlophe, what does he say? He doesn't try to say, no, Dr. John Hlophe is not corrupt. He's a moral character. No, he doesn't say that. He starts to do the whataboutism game. This is exactly what I was talking about when I opened up this video. Instead of discussing the issue at hand, using the facts around the issue, you park the issue and start making it about everything else except the issue itself.
You don't think it's because he's been found wanting? You don't think it's because of the morality issue? You don't think it's because he is impeached?
It cannot be about, they're talking about morality. I've told you about morality. They're the last people to speak about morality.
Just before
what we want is we want competent people to interview judges. And the problem is they are so much in control of the judicial system that they don't want it to be interrupted by a person like Dr. Hlophe.
So sad to see that this is the caliber of leaders our political space is full of. Even more sad is how among South Africans we have foolish people who will support this kind of excuse. They fall for this nonsense and they are proud of themselves for falling for it. What was his excuse? He simply said the DA is racist. He said the DA has murderers. He said the DA is full of colonialists. Again, he spoke about racism. He then spoke about Ian Cameron, a man who was labeled a racist for protesting against racism. I've made a video about Ian Cameron already. Feel free to watch it if you haven't already. This was not racism, by the way. But do you see what I mean, though, regarding the modus operandi of these progressives? Asked a clear, simple question about themselves and their parties, but instead of addressing that, they go on a rant that makes the listener view the opposition as a racist. They are using your emotions against you. They are using our emotions against us. He goes on to say this.
You know, we want to speak about them having morals and they want to point fingers at other people having morals. Well, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that will not fly. The reality is this judicial system is captured. That's just the reality of what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a captured judicial system every single time when either Mkhonto Wesizwe or anything that goes against the Cyril Ramaphosa ANC or this government, it's always going to be questioned. The same thing as what happened with regards to the Section 47(1)(e).
He accuses the judicial system of being captured. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Dr. John Hlophe is the one who clearly was captured by Jacob Zuma. And while he was still Judge John Hlophe, he tried to capture other judges.
In 2008, the two judges alleged Hlophe approached them while they were considering a corruption case involving President Jacob Zuma and arms company Tint in the multi-billion rand arms deal. The justices regarded discussing the case with them as an attempt to improperly influence its outcome. Hlophe faces impeachment if found guilty.
He was the one who tried to capture the JSE, but they refused to be captured. They chose to remain ethical, but guess what? Those judges who ruled against impeached Judge John Hlophe are the ones being accused of being captured, being puppets today.
And finally, our own president is a king, Ubaba Zuma. Yes, he is.
I've never heard anyone accusing John Hlophe of being a puppet of Jacob Zuma or being captured by Zuma, but that is exactly what he is. He was captured. He was a puppet of Zuma and still remains one to this day. But no one ever calls him a puppet because that's not the language all South Africans use. This is the language of these so-called progressive people. They accuse people of being racist, puppets, colonialists, compromise, and many other things. But they are dirty and divisive.
I mean, the DA are the last people to speak about morality. The DA today have people, and what they actually represent is racism, and they're formed off the back of murders. They murdered our people.
I made a video regarding how members of the National Party joined the ANC, by the way. I've never heard people calling the ANC racist for welcoming in members of the apartheid government. I wonder why. Please check that video out in case you missed it. When members of the Apartheid National Party joined the ANC, Jacob Zuma, this guy's leader, was within the ANC, by the way. He didn't protest to stop it from happening. The ANC is the one that took former National Party members, but the DA, the party founded by people who were literally fighting against apartheid, is a party that is accused of being racist. You're being taken for fools, guys. The ANC and its babies know that you're soft inside. They use emotions to get you to stop using your brains. They just say, DA has National Party members and it's racist, and you take it in like a sleeping bull. Wake up. Demand evidence. Do your own research. Question these claims, and you'll realize that most of these progressive parties just lie to divide, and as you are focused on the division, they simply empty the nation's purse. When you look their direction again, they give you another pull of division. Don't say you weren't warned. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Nhlamulo. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.